Get the bun me from? Damn, 8.5. God damn. That boy got motion. God damn. All
Welcome
right.
back. Alright, so today we got something different. If you've been on Twitter with your eyes open in the past day or two, you're aware of the new Arc Sys Marvel fighting game. Now this is Damien the video game. I am tapped in day one, but that's besides the point. We're here to build what I think is a probable roster for the game, including my heavy.
Dude, first things first, dude. This game might be so like hype. I hope it doesn't. I doubt that it's gonna die down. Cause what's that one game? That Dragon Ball game that came out? Sparking Zero. Yeah, everyone was hyped for that one, but dude, it died down so fast, and I'm kind of sad. I know this one might not, but I hope it doesn't die down.
And I do mean heavy, bias. Alright, starting us off with the characters that are already revealed, and just to go through them real quick. Off of the little we've seen, Cap looks like he's gonna be the, for all intents and purposes, Ryu of the game. Shield's the fireball, he's basically got the charging star. This is John fighting game right here. Spider-Man looks like he's gonna be mad mobile, so I'm assuming rushdown. And it looks like he's got some sort of spider sense move, UI Goku type move, and then a base Goku type foot dive. You know I'm gonna be in the lab day one. Rest of the cast looks like they're gonna be pretty similar to the Marvel vs. Capcom counterparts, with those Arc Sys unique spins on them, of course. Miss Marvel kind of reminds me of a mix of the Boos and Fighters. But moving on, these next characters are all but guaranteed. Starting to
Mind you, I'm so buns at fighting games. Like the only fighting game I was like decent at was probably Sparking Zero, and then maybe Mortal Kombat X. But even then, I'm still buns.
us off the full Fantastic Four. It's a 4v4 game. They got a movie coming out. Wouldn't be surprised if they announced them on the roster alongside the movie release. That's money in the bank right there. Reed's got to be one of them stretchy fighters, think Dalsim, or even what Miss Marvel's looking like. I'm sure they'll play vastly different from each other though, enough to make it interesting to pick either one. Johnny probably gonna be like his owner. That shit sounds like hell on earth. So I'm not even sure where they go with that, but I'm sure they'll probably come up with something interesting. But you know, for completion, she's got to be there. The thing's probably gonna be one of the faster, bulky types. Probably got the boxer brawler style like in Rivals. Maybe a Juggernaut style charge if you don't make the cut. And yes, that is the Fortnite Black Panther render. Moving on, I think they'll fill out a lot of the most popular Avengers. Really, I think Black Widow is surplus to requirement. The MCU influence, you feel what I'm saying? I'm thinking she'll play like a Sea Viper mixed with a Cammy type with the like assassin leg throws. Hawkeye probably more similar to Marvel vs. Capcom. Same for Thor and Black Panther, but not like a Wolverine.
That looks
clone.
so.
Hulk could be pretty interesting. I'm thinking a mix of how he plays in Marvel vs. Capcom, Abigail from Street Fighter, and Z Broly. You put those in a blender, I'm thinking he's gonna be a problem. And then Wolverine, probably still similar to Marvel vs. Capcom, but with some Yamcha in there, obviously. Now, Venom, I feel like is too popular now to leave out at this point. And it's Venom, man. What are we doing? Of course he makes it. And these, to me, are the lock. It's the non-negotiables, damn near. Next up, I got the maybe.
Dude, honestly, look at the suit of Iron Man right here. It looks so sick. Same thing with like Captain America's and Spider-Man's. I feel like theirs was gonna look cold no matter what. But the one I don't like is Star-Lord's. I kind of don't like that. It doesn't, you know? It's just, Injustice. Dude, oh my god, I played Injustice as well. And I'm also kind of buns at Injustice. But, you know, that's okay. Because, but, you know.
This is the more speculative part
I
of the
didn't
list.
play. I didn't play a lot of fighting games besides like the two I named earlier, and well, obviously Smash. And even then, I'm not even that good at it. And Brawlhalla, and I'm also bad at that game.
And I was trying to go off the description of the faces
Injustice
of Marvel,
2 is what I
balancing
like.
fighting types and styles, and a few surprises leaving room for characters never playable in a fighting game, yada yada yada. And I was trying to have some variety in there, but like I said, heavy bias. I am only human, so let's not dox and murder me. But let's not waste more time. These are my picks for the maybes. Starting from left to right, we got an interesting one: Groot and Rocket. So I'm figuring since Star-Lord
Groot and Rocket.
they gotta
I'm
have
not
more
gonna lie.
Guardians representation.
Yeah, Groot and Rocket might be so fun to play. Like, oh my god! As someone who plays Rocket on Rivals, I might want to play them just for the spite, that's the spite of it.
And I think the Groot and Rocket combo would be gas. I'm thinking they'll function like Tien and Fighters, where Chaozu kind of pops in for starter moves and specials. So basically, you're playing Groot, but with an extra Rocket support. Doc Ock, I feel like, would be really interesting. How it would be interesting? I couldn't tell you. I'm not the game developer. but I'm sure they'd make it work. And while looking to fill up the villain catalog, I kept on seeing that a lot of Marvel villains are like bulky and would fall into the big old grappler tank archetypes. So I think Doc Ock would make for some good variety. You could probably switch him out for Green Goblin or one of Spider-Man's
Either
other
or,
villains.
yeah.
Moving
Either
on.
or would work.
Thanos, another MCU influence one. He's always been a popular character, but now I think he's at a level where it would be weird to leave him out. And he could probably play, you guessed it, like Marvel vs. Capcom. But it'd be cool to give him something like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta with levels into that one-shot super, but sub that for something with the snap. Ultron, I feel like he'd just be Dark Iron Man, straight up. Some similarities, but enough that warrant picking one or the other. Thinking like Ryu, Akuma, or like
Banjo and Kazoo, yeah. I didn't play a lot of Banjo or I didn't play them a lot in Smash, but people who did play them, oh my god, they're always so nasty. And Ness was low key nasty. Who else? The Ice Villagers? No, not really. I don't know. I haven't seen people who play the Ice Villager.
Goku,
but you know,
Goku Black. All right, Cyclops.
That one might be
been a lot.
the Groot and Rocket might be a sleeper pick. Ice Climber, is that what they're called? Oops.
The only reason he isn't is because he was like a main, maybe even the main Marvel representative in Marvel vs. Capcom, at least marketing wise. But that don't mean he won't make it. I'm sure he will. But just in case, I got him in the maybes.
Yeah, Ness is
I think he'd also be similar to how he is in Marvel vs. Capcom, but with Arcs' flair and whatnot. And now that X-Men 97 got Cyclops off Fraud Watch, they'll have more cool shit to pull from. Apocalypse, I think, is an iconic X-Men big bad. The only way I see this not working is if they have a narrative story reasons that have no need for Apocalypse, because they save him for the big stuff, and they already got Doom. But I still feel like he has a good chance of making it. Magneto. You know the drill, Marvel vs. Capcom, but I'm thinking he could have some of them Frieza grab type moves. Magneto's a personal favorite.
My god.
I think his popularity is enough to have him make the cut.
The Marvel vs. Capcom, like that whole trope, not trope, but like that whole thing, like it being in another game, oh my god, that's gonna be so exciting. Like I might start tryharding in fighting games if that's the case, to be honest, but I don't know, we'll see.
I wouldn't be super surprised, but that's why he's in maybes. Now Carnage, hear me out. I know what you're thinking. Wow, this guy must be super Spidey sexual. And however true that may be, I think he's still a good pick because of what I said earlier about filling out the villain roster. A lot of these guys are some beefy motherfuckers, and Carnage could probably be the villain rushdown pick. Deadpool, Marvel vs. Capcom, he's popular, and I could really stop there, but it helps that there's a lot of Japanese Deadpool stuff already. Ant-Man and the Wasp in one slot. Now seeing he's gonna be a 4v4 fighter, and this is the second duo fighter on this hypothetical roster, I can see how the visual clutter might be blinding and overwhelming. Like let's say you run a mirror match with Groot and Ant-Man on each side, and whoever else to fill out your squad. You could be looking at 12 characters on your screen.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 6 on the other side. Holy crap!
At any given moment. So I don't know if they'd go this route, but they had Gohan and Videl in fighters, Tien, like I said earlier, and 18 and 17. So they could probably make it work. And speaking of which, I think they could function like Videl and Gohan, with the main pilot and the assist and whatnot. Another biased pick, but not too biased. Hold on now. Magic, hot blonde girl with a huge sword. What's not to like? And she's had a spike in popularity with the solo series and the
oh my god!
You give her a teleport like.
Why is there two? There's only one Iron Man. What?
Like bias pick, but not too biased. Hold on now. Magic.
Because there's this Iron Man, which is the Iron Man that's in game, and then there's the Ultron.
Blonde girl with a huge sword. What's not to like? And she's had a spike in popularity.
That's Apocalypse. That one's Magneto. That one's Thor. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Daredevil. Gambit.
With her solo series and the release of Marvel Rivals, you give her a teleport like Dulcine or like a Z-Vanish. Actually, that sounds kind of busted, but they'd figure it out. You give her that and a Dark Child install, and you're golden. Daredevil's only in the maybe section because there is a slim chance they just leave him as the Easter egg on that map, but I'd say he's pretty much a lock. I feel like they could cook with his kit. You give him them UI Goku flips and whatnot. I don't know, but he'd probably be mad fun. He seems to be a big fan pick from what I've seen in reactions. He's always like within the first 3 characters that get asked for. And they've got the basis for him already, Marvel vs. Capcom, so I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to structure his gameplay. That's it for the base. Now, I think the official roster might even be bigger than this. This is loosely going off of the fighters.
Purely, I'm not gonna lie, I hope the roster is bigger than this. I would get bored of this very quickly because I know there's a lot more Marvel characters out there. And that's what I think.
Roster, which had around like 40 characters, some. So I'm almost positive the official roster is going to be bigger and have even more DLC. So this will probably only cover about a season of it. But speaking of which, the DLC I'm just going to run through real quick because they're mostly spitballs and I can only assume there will be multiple seasons of DLC. Starting on the left, Silver Surfer. Super popular, fantastic for relation, hype enough to make the money, basically a lock. Nova, probably play like Marvel vs. Capcom. You get the picture. He's on here.
Nova's a
because
good pick,
Miss Marvel
too.
is here, and Miles is also on the DLC picks. I guess that's kind of grimy to lock that team up behind 2 DLCs, but this is still a business. You feel what I'm saying? And since I already mentioned Miles, will move to him. I think one super hype drop, and by the time this game releases, the Spider-Verse movie would be right around the corner.
Oh
brand
my
synergy and that.
God.
His moveset could be different enough from Peter's Spider-Man to make for an interesting character. His lightning, if they're bold enough to give him the lightning sword, not to mention the swagger, would all make him a
Dude,
prime
if they
choice.
gave him the lightning sword, that would be like, oh my. Would he be too OP? No. But would it be cool to see? Of course. What? Who doesn't like a sword?
Just for DLC, maybe even base game. Going back over to the left, Sentry. One, never been in a fighting game, unless you count mobile games. And after Thunderbolts, he's gotten a little boost in popularity. I also just think it'd be cool to have a Superman-type character in here. I think he'd make for interesting matchups. Cable, he's one that I think is interchangeable for a lot of other characters. But he's solid. Looking at it now, he's been in fighting games, so I'd maybe swap him with Moon Knight. In hindsight, that's probably the better
Sword
pick,
Master?
but
Dude,
fuck it,
that's what
Cable.
I'm saying, yeah.
Black Bolt, to be blatantly honest, to be a truther, if you will. Black Bolt is only here because I'm bending over to the Inhumans fans, because they do deserve a morsel of representation. But if we're keeping it a bean, nobody gives a fuck about the Inhumans. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. You know, he might play interesting, maybe a scream stun mechanic. I don't know how they'd make it work, but yeah, low-key, he's the diversity hire. Wanda. Yeah, she's an important Avenger slash villain sometimes. You give her some sort of hover, I feel like maybe she'd play like Fuse Zamasu, and she's popular enough to make people buy her. Same thing for Bucky, especially now with the MCU influence. If they want to go the Rivals route with the arm, they can make them like Spencer and Marvel vs. Capcom, mix in with some gunplay, you know what I mean? Bullseye's here because, one, Daredevil villain, but two, I think he would play super technical, and that'd be sick. He's not the hypest character drop, I'll admit, but just think of the set play. Miles, we went over, and that leaves Rogue. Can't have Gambit without Rogue. And she's pretty popular too, so I think she'd sell. Gameplay-wise, they've already got a baseline for that. Maybe give her an ability seal or be able to take abilities for a few seconds. I don't know, like I said, they'd make it work. And that's the list. There are a few honorable mentions that I feel could make it, but may not, or are interchangeable like Moon Knight, Elektra, Juggernaut, Iron Fist, Colossus. And personally, I'd like Spider-Gwen to be in it, but that's a big bias pick. A lot of people got Spider-Man fatigue, and I don't think she'd play different enough from Peter to warrant an entire new character slot. I don't know how they'll handle anything cosmetic, but if they like money, they could maybe give her a premiere skin for Peter, but that feels like it's kind of pushing it. Anywho, there are a lot of other characters I feel could have made the list, but this is what I feel like is a possibility of what could happen. Let me know who you'd swap out. I myself am not even completely happy with my list. Like Black Bolt and Cable were kind of what the fuck, but that's it for me, and I appreciate you for watching.
Good fucking video, though. He basically, like, I don't know a lot about it, but...
See, I think Goku's just too iconic in Marvel mythos to leave.
Goku. Dude, that'd be sick. Having Goku in there.